Hi everyone, welcome to Portia's Place, where you'll never wine alone. I am honored to have our guest today is Lauren Barczak. She is a 2021 graduate of the University of Delaware. Listen to this. She has a Bachelor of Science in Wildlife Ecology and Conservation, also a Bachelor of Science. Did I get that right?
Yes.
And then
Yep.
also a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture and Natural Resources with a minor in Environmental Humanities. That's a mouthful, y'all. But listen, she's a beast. You heard all of that, right? Like, that's amazing, right? So
Thank you.
she is currently the Curator of Conservation Education at the Brandywine Zoo in Wilmington, Delaware. I've got a little story about that zoo. We'll talk about that. And she is the former conservation education presenter at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So you know we're going to talk about that too. So all my Disney lovers, hang in there. It's going to be some good conversation. So Lauren, welcome to Portia's Place.
Thank you for having me.
Oh gosh, listen,
Happy to
thank
be
you
here.
for saying yes. I'm so excited to talk about what you do, but I've got to tell a couple of stories. So I
I love it.
want to say some things. So you were one of Jeffrey's friends that I met back in 2014 when
Yes.
we moved to this town and he was in high school. I remember you coming over, but one of the things that, couple things about you, Lauren, always kind, always respectful to us.
you.
You always have a smile on your face. You're just adorable, right?
Thank you.
But I remember you and Katie were such lifesavers because we had an open house for the holidays and I invited families. And so I needed two people to come over to kind of babysit, but I had crafts planned. So I had bought all of these supplies
I love it.
for you all to have crafts for the kids so that they were kind of occupied while the parents were upstairs enjoying. And I'm going to tell you, y'all did such an amazing job.
It was a blast.
Listen, I know it had to be hectic because it was a lot of kids. But y'all just did such a great job. It made my life easier because I was able to tell the parents to come and enjoy, and you didn't have to worry about finding a babysitter or someone
Yeah.
to watch the kids. You could bring them. Y'all hung out down in the basement. It was really cool. It was a lifesaver. And
It was fun.
thank you. Look, and I'll never forget that. So, thank you again. I know I thanked you then, but thank you again because you really, really saved us. So,
Thank you.
let's start talking a little bit.
Yeah.
So, listen, it's a mouthful with your degrees, but all
Yes.
really exciting things and working for the Brandywine Zoo. So, I have to know really what started your love affair with wildlife and animals and agriculture. Where'd that start?
So as a kid, I always would try to bring inside like any bug I saw. I was that kid that I had to be policed at the door to make sure I wasn't bringing in like a toad or a frog or something crazy. And we had gone a lot to like zoos and aquariums when I was a kid. And I remember there was this one like beach trip we took as a family that I had this talk from an educator all about like sea turtles. And so there was a little game we played with ping pong balls, and for some reason that always stuck with me and I was like, I want to do that. And so I got older, worked for state parks for a little bit and realized I wanted to do science and I wanted to do education, and you can do both. So I went to college for wildlife ecology and conservation, which was a blast, learned so much. And then after that realized that the path I wanted to go down when I started working at Disney actually was that kind of pathway of doing conservation work but also educating people about it. So
Now, we're going to, you said it, so I definitely want to transition into this. What is it like working for Disney? I mean, listen, everyone says this, with the exception of the winery. Everyone talks about, Disney World being the happiest place on earth. I mean,
Yeah.
when football season and the Super Bowl and, there's always that commercial, hey, what are you going to do tomorrow? We're going to Disney World. So it's
Yeah.
such a big deal.
Yeah.
But what was it like working for them at Animal Kingdom?
Yeah.
Which I remember with great fondness. I remember taking
Yes.
Jeffrey there. Jeffrey even stayed at Animal Kingdom one time when when his grandfather took him to Disney. And
That's so
so
much fun.
I just remember it being so much fun. But what was it like to work there?
Yeah, it was a blast, to be totally honest. I had such a great time. So I had moved there for a couple of months, actually in 2020 originally, and I was a safari driver for Kilimanjaro Safaris, which was so crazy and so fun. And you would get up in the morning and your day would be looking at animals on the savannah and talking to like thousands of people every day about how
We
great
did
they
that
are.
tour. That was a lot of fun. It was so
wonderful.
much fun. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Go ahead. I interrupted. Sorry.
No. It's very like you're out there and you're looking at giraffe and that's your every 30 minutes, which is crazy and wonderful. And so then 2020, of course, was the year that it was. And I ended up cutting my program. It was a college program. So it was meant to be sort of like a work placement for college students.
Okay.
And I loved it. And then COVID cut it short. So I reapplied to a position later down the line as I was finishing college that was a bit more geared towards what I wanted to do. And so in my job, what I ended up doing was I was a conservation education presenter. So my job was to dress up like a wilderness explorer from the movie Up, and you would rotate around the park and you teach people about all sorts of things, whether it was an exhibit and you're talking about the animal in it, or you're out doing activities with guests. It was, no day was the exact same, which was really fun.
Yes.
It was really hot. Florida is really hot.
Florida's hot. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But it was incredible. It was very fast paced. You would talk to, again, thousands of people every day, but every single time, every day, like something really wonderful. Like you just talk to so many kids from all over the world who are just so excited to be there and to learn something, which is kind of not what you're expecting when you go to a theme park. A lot of people go to Disney and they're like, I'm here to ride the rides, and they're on a path to go ride the rides.
Yes.
But you get to kind of inspire them a little bit to do something a little extra for conservation and for wildlife in there, which is really awesome to have that kind of extra responsibility where, you know, you're encouraging them to go have fun and learn at the same time, which is amazing. I loved it. There were always like the best interactions with kids who were just so excited about it, or had been there and done the program before and wanted to be a wilderness explorer and would come and know more than you because they watch Wildcrats, which is the best. Like, kids are great.
Yes. Oh my goodness, Lauren, I love that. So you two things come to mind, and I have some friends who are adults, like they have grandchildren. Shout out to Patty and Dale Stevens, but they go to Disney, I believe, every year, and like as adults, just the two of them. They do the behind the scenes. They love doing things like that. It's just I didn't know there was such a draw as well for adults to just go to Disney and hang out and do some of those things. The other thing that you made me think about was I have another friend, and I'm going to tell you this. When she's watching this episode, she's probably going to be like, I need to spend some time with Lauren. I have a friend that, I hate to use the word obsessed, but she is obsessed with giraffes.
As
In
you
fact,
should be.
listen,
I love giraffes.
She is obsessed with giraffes. When her husband proposed to her at a zoo, he arranged this entire thing
amazing.
Where they were on this behind the scenes thing, and she was
so
feeding
great.
the giraffes. And it was amazing. Like, but she loves giraffes.
That's
and
so great.
she recently, had a baby, and I'm gonna tell you, hey James Martin. Let me tell you that she got so many things that were giraffe themed. Look, we were all trying to find little things with little animals and like little baby giraffes. It's like it was so cool to do that. But she loves giraffes. I'm telling you. Like one day she will be somewhere where it's just like a giraffe conservatory, and she can just hang out, But I love that, and I love what you're saying too, and I think it's so cool, Lauren. Like, something that was coming to my mind when you were talking is, how neat is it that you're really doing something that you love? Yeah. I know I've said this more than one time, and I definitely got age on you. You're in the pack with my son. You all are friends. And I just think it's so cool that you are actually doing something that you love. So many of us, we do have passions, but to be able to tie that into something that actually earns a good salary
Yeah.
is a wonderful thing, and your parents must be ecstatic, okay? Because we want our children to be successful in whatever that means for them. But for you to, I mean, the passion is coming through. Like, I'm feeling like I need to go back to Disney just to kind of like to experience this again through different eyes. So I love that. What do you feel like was is the most rewarding thing that you're doing working, like even right now, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Brandywine Zoo, but what do you feel like thus far has been the most rewarding thing for you working in your field?
I think it's funny because when I started out in this field, I thought for a while that I wanted to do, just the science part. I was like, education's fine. I kind of like the idea of being out in the field all the time.
Yes.
And then I sort of started to learn that you can't have that aspect without the education piece.
Yes.
And once you start to really engage with people and get them inspired about conservation, you start to like see the effect and the change you have on people. And that's so impactful for me. I remember it happens a little less frequently with my position now just because I sometimes am not the one spending all of the time with the public just doing the education. Now as a manager, I spend a lot more time coaching staff on how to do that.
Yes.
But
you're
a lot
no longer an individual contributor. I get it. Yes,
Yep.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
But some of my favorite pieces of what I do is getting to talk to people who are like, oh my gosh, I love this animal, or I'm so excited every time I see a giraffe or a butterfly or insert animal here, because people really care a lot, and if you can kind of encourage that spark for people to care about something, then you're helping in a much bigger way, because now you're inspiring people to continue to do the stuff that you're doing. You're not, planting a tree by yourself or doing field work all alone when it feels like it's a lot. Because conservation issues are kind of big and hard to do anything as just one person, but the education aspect, when you get to inspire people. I remember at Disney there was a little girl who came up to me one day who had a little okapi stuffed animal, and a lot of kids don't even know what an okapi is.
Correct.
They're really, really cool. They're one of my favorite animals, and she comes up with her little stuffed animal and she was like, I want to be just like you when I grow up. And I was like, oh, my heart. It was the cutest thing ever. And the fact that like she came back because she cared so much about the okapi, which was her favorite animal, which she told me all about afterwards, like fostering that kind of excitement in people is the best. That's definitely, I think, the most rewarding part for me.
I love that, Lauren. Like I really love that. It's so touching, and to think, I'm sitting here thinking about how much more time you have to work and how many lives you're actually touching in this way. And it's neat, a lot of us, we work in offices and we're doing things where sometimes we are rarely outside. Our customers are really sometimes internal, but for you to be able to touch lives sometimes, and it's changing a little bit now, like you said, being a manager, but still, having that type of impact. Like I'm sitting here talking to you, thinking about something I never thought about when you said that, and I'm like, I got to make sure I talk to Lauren when we finish this visit, like I'm able to, kind of recommend different volunteer events, and maybe we can talk about my professional job that I don't talk about during the podcast, but maybe there's something that we can do for a volunteer event to help out at the zoo. Like I'm getting excited about it, and I would have a lot of volunteers because you're right. Everyone loves animals, and I'm just even thinking about when the ASPCA comes through, or what's the other one? Faithful Friends. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Faithful
When they come through with animals, everybody's like outside taking a break to see them. So we've got to talk about this when I finish, Lauren, because this could be a good joint venture, a good thing for me to bring to the company. We talk about doing. So
absolutely,
that's really cool. So talk to me too. We touched on it a little bit just then, but what's it like working for a zoo?
It's great. No 2 days are the same, which is a common occurrence, I feel like, in my career history. I love when every day is a little bit different. So my position, I'm the Curator of Conservation Education. Okay. So what my responsibility is to oversee our conservation work and our conservation programs, whether that's local or abroad. And then I also manage our education team. We've got a really phenomenal team of educators who do a lot of really amazing programs around the zoo. So whether that's traveling educational programs and we go out to schools, or it's programs right in the zoo or events, there's a really broad variety of programs that we'll run. But yeah,
so
it's great.
That's pretty cool. So tell me this. So when you go out to the schools as a part of the conservation, I want to make sure I get that right. As a part of the conservation education department, what is it like when you go out to schools? What are some of the things that you do with the students when you're there?
A lot of times we'll bring out animal ambassadors. So we have a certain collection of animals at the zoo that we call our ambassadors. Basically, they serve as an ambassador to their species. And for basically enrichment, they will go out and visit and meet new people. So we'll bring out animal ambassadors to meet the students. We'll talk about different conservation themes that match up with what they're learning in school.
Yes.
So whether it's, meeting a curriculum, or we'll travel to places that aren't just schools, we might go to different centers for whatever it is that they might request from our curriculums. So it's wonderful to be able to go out and meet different people and get them exposed to the Brandywine Zoo. We're a very small zoo in the middle of Wilmington, so we're a really urban zoo, which is so wonderful because we get such a unique opportunity to be there for education for a lot of people who've never seen these animals with their own eyes before. So that's great.
Listen, that's way cool. So I'm gonna tell you, when we first moved to Delaware, Jeffrey was 2, and I remember not really knowing a lot about the area, and someone that worked for me had a granddaughter. She was older than Jeffrey, but he was someone, and disclaimer here, and I must say this, this no longer exists in this sense. I don't believe this program is still in place, so please don't call the Brandywine Zoo and start harassing them about this, okay? But at that time, there was, and I know that you can do memberships, but it was really cool because, and this is over 20 years ago now, but you could purchase a family membership to the Brandywine Zoo and have family access to any other zoo that was in that program.
That still exists, actually.
Does it?
Yeah, so we have a membership reciprocity system. So you can find more details about it on the Brandywine Zoo website, but the reciprocity system works at a couple of other AZA institutions. So the Brandywine Zoo is accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We've been continuously accredited since it's been possible to be accredited, it's basically the gold standard of care and welfare and conservation work in zoos and aquariums. So a lot of the other institutions that do the reciprocity system with us, it could even be if Brandywine Zoo is not your local zoo and you join a membership with your local zoo and then you're visiting, always good to call and see if it counts, because it's a really great way to come and see the zoo.
I remember, so mind you, like Jeffrey was in a stroller and we're pushing him through the Brandywine Zoo, but one of the things I remembered was that it wasn't too overwhelming for him. It is a small zoo, so I feel like it made it easy and more accessible in a way for a small child. Sometimes zoos can be huge and it's a bit overwhelming, but I just felt it was easy in a sense to connect to this zoo because it was a small zoo. But there were a lot of animals there, surprisingly. I was thinking, let's see what's going on at the zoo. But it was great. But I also remember in that same program, we were able to go to the aquarium. I think we did the aquarium in Camden at that time was a part of the program. I even think that the Baltimore aquarium was also, I remember, us going down that way. We went to the Philadelphia Zoo. It was really a cool program. And it was really a neat thing. And so I love the fact that you all are able to kind of expand this too and go out to share information on these animals. So I love that. And I think that, Lauren, it will continue to be exciting for you because, like you said, no 2 days are ever going to be the same. Sometimes you work and you go to work and you know exactly what you're going to be doing and it's going to be that same thing every day. But I think with what you're doing, you're absolutely right. It's something different all the time. So that's a cool thing. It's a cool thing.
It's the best. Some of my days, we'll be out in the field doing field work. Some of my days are behind the desk. Some of my days are out talking to people, and it's great because a lot of times those little moments of talking to our guests and encouraging people to engage with us. We have so many repeat visitors who will come back and try to. We had someone who would come out on their like lunch break every day in the wintertime. So starting in November, we have a no fee season, so guests can come in. A lot of times it's when not all animals are going to be out. Not all of them are as cold tolerant as others, so they might. We will lower our fees, and it's the best to see people come back so frequently that they care so much about each individual animal that they'll ask us about, how is this animal doing today? And I saw this animal do something different and it was really awesome. It's the best. And I think that's also part of being such a small zoo is we are really friendly to that environment of, we're right in the middle of the city. A lot of people will walk down to come and go to the zoo, and it's the best.
It's beautiful.
Being that small, it's great because we can be small really well, I think. And I think that,
I love that.
We have definitely been able to create an environment that's really accessible to a lot of different kinds of audiences. It's great for like families and young children. We this past year actually just got what's called Culture City certified. So Culture City is an organization that creates a sensory inclusion certification.
Nice.
So we are sensory inclusive certified, which is really exciting for us. So it's great.
Listen, if you're in the Mid-Atlantic area, you need to come to the Brandywine Zoo. Like, I'm getting excited. Like, I need to go to the zoo next weekend and just kind of hang out. I remember when I was training for the Coleman 3-day, a lot of our walking, when we started really training in the longer walks, we would walk past that zoo all the time.
Wonderful.
And it was really just, you're right, to be right in the heart of Wilmington. And it's so beautiful. And it was so neat walking past that zoo. So, all right. So listen, we're going to transition a little bit. This is your first time here at Portia's Place.
Yes.
I hope not your last. And now we're going to move into Viola's Vino. And so this is where we feature a wine. We talk a little bit about the wine and do a little, we smell the wine, do a little sniffing and a little bit of tasting too. And then we'll get back and kind of talk about some other things. All right. So today, Lauren, and I know that you have been able to visit William Heritage Winery, but we are actually featuring their Jersey Sugar Plum. It is a silver medal winner from the Beverage Tasting Institute. It's one of their limited edition wines. But just like it sounds, it is a sugar plum wine. It is sweet. Sugar plums tend to be, they're naturally sweet and juicy. A lot of times when people eat them, they'll just pop the whole thing in their mouth. Otherwise, you run the risk of just juices everywhere, right? And sugar plums are a small to medium-sized fruit. They're often elongated or oval, and they have an oblong shape. Their skin is thin and smooth, okay? And they range in colors. They can be dark red, purple, red. Some even have a yellow hue, or they can even be purple in a sense. So really interesting fruit. Like I mentioned, full of sugar on its own, natural sugars. Also, the interesting thing about sugar plums when I was doing a little research on them is that they're a great source of potassium. So I know sometimes people do have, they need additional potassium. And so it's a great source of potassium and also a great source of vitamin C. And who doesn't love a great source of vitamin C? So it's definitely a really, really good thing there. All right, so we are going to first do a little sniff test of the Jersey Sugar Plum, and we're going to see what we smell, okay? So let's do a little swirl of the wine. I know I poured a lot in here for us to taste, but a little swirl of the glass, and then let's just take a sniff and
That smells really good.
What do you smell when you smell this?
It smells like candy or like a holiday candle.
Yeah, you're right. I also it's jammy. It smells like it smells like jam to me. But you're right, holidays. The interesting thing, and we'll taste in a second. The interesting thing about sugar plums, and if I think about it, I think it's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. and it's visions of sugar plums dancing in our heads. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of times when people talk about sugar plums, it's interesting that you said candy, because sugar plums, when people talk about that, tends to be discussion about candy. But I do jam and candy,
Yeah.
and it smells sweet.
It's like a warm sweetness. I
Yes.
don't know how else to say that. Besides,
It is. It's not.
like
It's not an overpowering or sickly sweet. It
Yeah.
is. It's like a warm
Yeah.
sweetness to it. Let's take a taste. Cheers.
cheers.
Cheers. All right.
It's really good.
It
really
is
good.
good.
Yeah.
It's What do you think about when you taste it?
It's like, I don't know how to describe it besides, you can clearly tell I'm not the wine
Lauren.
connoisseur.
Lauren.
But it's like fruity in
Yes.
a unique way. It's sweet and fruity,
Yes.
but it's not overbearingly sweet.
No. And it's interesting. You know, we're talking about sugar plums in the holiday season. I'm going to come back to that in a second, but I think it's so refreshing for now. Like, we've been having some very warm temperatures,
Yeah.
but I feel like this is light.
Yeah.
And there's a good sweetness to it that's, just, I think, so good for this time of year. If you're just having a glass of something, and if you don't want something too heavy, but definitely on the sweet side, this is good.
Yeah.
I also think, going back to the holiday thing, I think this would also be really good if it was warmed a little bit, maybe with some cinnamon sticks in it.
Ooh, that would be
If you're
really
having
good.
friends over
Yeah.
for the holidays and something good to do, if you have a couple of bottles of this,
Yeah.
maybe pour it in a crock pot. Put some cinnamon sticks in it. Maybe if
be
you,
really good.
that would be really
That would
good,
be
right?
really good. And it's funny because I feel like sometimes like a holiday tasting wine that's like that warmer flavor. Sometimes
Yes.
I don't always find it as refreshing, but this one's really refreshing.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a good one.
Yeah,
I
this
was
is
talking
delicious.
to my executive producer about this wine. It's interesting. I've in other episodes of Portia's Place, it wasn't my intention necessarily, but it's interesting how I've had a lot of wines from William Heritage Winery featured in this podcast. Now, of course, I'm a bit biased. I spend a lot of my time there, so I get that too. But the Jersey wines, the line of Jersey wines, I just find that the taste is just spot on.
Yeah.
It's sweet, it's refreshing, so Jersey Sugar Plum, that's what it's going to taste like.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good. I will tell you that also, for this particular wine right now, it retails for $14 a bottle.
Wow.
Right. Where are
Wow.
you going to get something this refreshing? But again, it is one of the limited wines. Sugar plums isn't something that there's an abundance of on their farm. And let me tell you, they fight really hard to keep the birds from eating the sugar plums. I mean,
Interesting.
sometimes being out with fire, having the pits and just trying to keep the birds away, because they will eat the sugar plums. And so
Really?
it takes time, but they're sweet.
Yeah.
They smell so good.
Yeah.
They're so tasty. So I'm glad you enjoyed. This was a good Viola's Vino.
This is really good.
Yeah, it's good. Good. I'll let you
Yes.
take the rest of the bottle with you home too, Lauren. You got that, all right?
Thank you.
It's a win-win, right?
It's amazing. It's really, really
yes,
good.
no,
Yeah.
it's good. So, listen, we were talking a little bit about, I just mentioned the holidays, and this is going to be your first holiday season as a wife, because
Yeah.
you're getting married next
Yes.
month. So congratulations to you,
Thank
first
you.
of all. It's so cool because I do know your fiance, and when I'm telling people about when I'm talking about your fiance, and his mother was one of the first people that I met in this town, who's adorable. Like, what
so
a great mother-in-law you're going to have, right? Or
One of-
mother-in-love, as I like to say.
I love
you're
that.
going to have, like, mother-in-love you're going to have, because she's so sweet.
She's so nice.
But we talk
Yes.
about this when I'm telling people who's getting married. I say to them, well, this was Jeff's roommate when he was in Ireland, Scotland, and England. Like he and Rex were roommates, and thankfully Rex took a lot of pictures with the camera because Jeffrey took very few because he's nodding in and out on the tour bus sometimes, but. Thankfully, Rex had the camera and got a lot of great pictures for me, so I could really see what was happening on the
Good. That's so funny.
I'm so excited for you. And tell me a little bit about it. So I know you're doing, I think, wedding August, reception September, right?
Yes.
So where's your wedding going to be?
So our ceremony is going to be kind of small and private.
Yes.
We wanted it to be kind of special and intimate just for like close friends and family.
Yes.
And so we're going to have our ceremony at Lum's Pond State Park. He and I both actually worked there for a while, and it's so beautiful. It's such a great spot. Yes. The pond is gorgeous. We got a pavilion rental that is like overlooking the pond. It's beautiful. So the absolute like perfect spot for it. And then we're going to have a reception in September, early September, and it's going to be at the Delaware Museum of Nature and Science. Which is a blast.
That sounds like it's going to be a blast, right?
Yes, they're so wonderful. The staff there are phenomenal and have been such a huge help in planning everything. And it's such a fun spot. We both like went on one of our first dates there actually, and so it's a really like special spot, not just for the two of us, but like individually too. I know he went there a ton as a kid. I went there a ton as a kid.
Wow.
They have like this giant statue that hangs from the ceiling of a giant squid, and I was like obsessed with it as a kid. I thought it was so cool. And so now that we're having like our wedding reception there, it's so exciting. The planning has been it's been so easy to plan with the reception because the staff there have been so helpful, and that's incredible. We're so excited. They're even like, I'm a huge nerd. Rex is a big nerd too, but I love all things natural history, and they're gonna play like a mollusk video in one of the rooms. Like it's gonna be great. So.
And so your guests that are at the reception will actually be able to move around in the museum, correct?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I love unique venues, and it sounds way cool. I can't wait to hear about it. You know, I am gonna brag a little bit, you all, because my executive producer / my number one favorite son is the best man. Like, I love that. I'm also feeling a bit old because when your kid is a best man in a wedding, it's like, what is he really? So listen, I've been getting little tidbits, and it sounds so exciting, and I love that. I love that your ceremony is going to be somewhere so unique. I mean, Lum's Pond is such a huge part of Delaware. I mean it. Like, I've heard about Lum's Pond. I've been there. I tend to not hang out there too much because I'm terrified of snakes. And I mean it. Like, I'm really afraid of snakes. And so I'm not there a lot, but it is, Lum's Pond is a staple in this area when it comes to Delaware. It's a beautiful location. So
it's gorgeous.
I can't wait to see pictures, and then to follow that up with such a beautiful and significant venue.
Yeah.
I pass it all the time. I'm a member at Longwood Gardens, so I always pass it going to the gardens, or if I'm going to an event at Winterthur, you pass it going there too. So that sounds so cool, and to be able to move in that space, guests will certainly be there to celebrate you and Rex, but to kind of be able to be there and the connection for the two of you, I think it's amazing. So I'm so excited for you on that. What's been the most stressful part about planning this?
All of the little last minute things I think that fall into place. We're like a month away, which is crazy and super exciting. And it's all of the like last minute.
I get it.
Are the centerpieces all set and all of that kind of last minute logistical planning.
Yes, I understand. I understand. What's the most exciting part about this entire thing? It doesn't even have to be the planning. What's the thing that's most exciting to you right now about this?
I'm just excited for the way that we planned it to have sort of a nice intimate little ceremony, and it's very much we wanted to design it to be something that we would enjoy since it's so it's an important event for the two of us, so we wanted it to be something that we could like actually really enjoy all of the pieces of it and have it be meaningful to us, and I'm so excited for that. We're gonna have the best time, and I'm just so excited. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Listen, the excitement is radiating, and I also love something that you said that I do think is really important, that it's going to be a really intimate affair with numbers that size. I just feel like the two of you will really be able to spend time with everyone.
Yeah.
It's tough when you have a large group of attendees because you can't spend that time with everyone like you'd like to. So I'm excited that you will have that time to spend with people. It's going to be way cool. So I'm really so excited for you, and really congratulations to you again. I mean, this is such a cool time. So you just try to relax. I know you're it's like T-minus 30 days, you know, but just try to relax and enjoy, and I'm thrilled for the both of you. So, all right.
Can't wait.
I got a couple more things I want to ask you.
Yes.
Favorite thing to do on your day off?
Ooh, favorite thing to do on my day off. A lot of times I will spend my day off relaxing, to be totally honest. I need my self-care time after.
I'm here for it. Okay?
Great.
Yes.
I love to, sometimes I will take a whole day on my weekend just to do some like self-care. I'll do like my facial routine and do my hair and do my nails. And I just need like work. Sometimes it's hot and sweaty. It's the zoo. That's how it is. Absolutely. So I like to take a day to have like a nice self-care day, because I think that's an important part of a routine, you know?
I love that. No, absolutely. It is. Absolutely. So I'm going to switch gears just for a minute, because you have another love affair, and that is with anime.
Yes.
And so I want to know what started that for you. How'd you get into anime?
Ooh. Actually, it was Rex for sure.
Okay.
So I probably around in college, I'm gonna say like 2019, 2020. I started to watch more anime. I love art and animation, and I was like, it's so beautiful. And I had seen a lot of like Studio Ghibli movies, like far before that, and loved them, and I think that was sort of a gateway.
Yes.
And then I started to get really into it and started reading manga and started getting into different anime. So,
do you have a favorite?
Right now, it depends on when you ask me that question.
I understand. I get it. It's like me and wine. Depends on when you ask me what my favorite is.
Exactly.
Go ahead. I get it.
Right now, it's probably a tie between Jujutsu Kaisen and Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime. But a movie just came out, and we saw it in theaters, and it's so cute. So definitely a tie between, which are very different animes. But
I love that. All right. We're almost done. I'm going to, I want to ask you something.
Yes.
What do you want your legacy to be, Lauren? And you got a lot of years, but at this moment, like, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah. I think for me, I have been really, really fortunate to have such a great start to my career.
Yes.
I feel like being 25 and being in the position that I'm in, I feel really lucky that I can make a change in my job, and not just with like the education aspect of it, but the conservation work too. Yes. There's a lot of really exciting work that we're doing at the zoo, and I love getting to watch the impact that it has, not just on, you know, our guests, but even like the staff and the people that we'll interact with that are our partner organizations, and the kind of work that we're contributing to in the long run. I think leaving a legacy of successful like conservation work means a lot to me. So
I love that. Listen, I'm talking to you, and I had to remember that you were 25 when you said 25, and I'm like, she is 25, but you're not coming across as 25. So let me tell you, it's awesome to hear that, and to even have a thought or to really be thinking about your legacy at this point it's really commendable, and I'm proud of you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Keep it up. Like you're killing it right now. So I'm really proud of you in that way. So listen, we've been talking about the zoo.
Yes.
Tell me some things. Are some things going on that are going to be coming up that anyone watching Portia's Place might be able to participate in the coming months?
Yeah, we have a lot of really wonderful events coming up throughout the summer and into the fall.
Great.
July is a really, really busy month at the zoo.
Okay.
So midway through July, we'll have our big rollout of our summer theme. So we're doing prehistoric times at the Brandywine Zoo.
Ooh.
So any big dinosaur fans, you will want to come by the zoo.
Yes.
We're talking all about the ancient ancestors of the animals that you'll see in the zoo's collection.
Oh, that's really cool.
A lot of our partners, like the Museum of Nature and Science, are going to be coming out, and they'll be actually showing off one of their new exhibits as a little sneak peek for when it opens in
I love
October.
a sneak peek because that's almost like VIP, and I'm here for the VIP. No, go ahead.
Yes,
Go.
I love it. I love it.
that.
We also have sip and strolls, so it's a really, really fun event in the evening. You can come and walk through the zoo and grab a drink and grab some really good food and walk around and see the animals, which is really fun. The next upcoming dates for that, we have one in August 8th. So they run around 5:30 or 5 p.m. Sorry, to 7:30.
It's okay.
So they're an evening event. They're a blast. We also have family fun nights. So those are another really fun one. We've got one in September coming up.
Okay.
So
And can people that are watching, will they be able to see this on the website if they go out to the website? So listen, what I'll make sure that we do for this episode, I'll definitely put the website out for the Brandywine Zoo because I want people to look. And that sip and stroll, you caught my attention with that. So I'm going to see what I'm doing August 8th and see if I can make it out there. I would love to come. So definitely, for those of you watching, definitely check out the description when this episode goes live. You'll see the information with the website so that you can participate in some of these cool things. So,
and all the tickets you can buy right on the website.
I love it. We need convenience. We need it to be easy. Get the tickets. Don't show up and try to get in. Get your ticket ahead of time, okay? Because I'm sure there's probably a limited number of tickets for events like this.
Yeah, sometimes they'll sell out pretty early, so it's a great idea to get them online.
Yes. And listen, if it's been a long time since you've been to the zoo, now's the time. Listen to these kind of cool things they're doing. Be a part of that movement. Support the conservation efforts that are going on there, and just, animals and the love that we all have for them. So, Lauren, I am going to wrap up as I always do. But before I do that, I want to say thank you so much for coming to hang out with me in Portia's Place. It's been an education for me today, and I love that, and I appreciate you being here and sharing and making such a difference every day in a space that people probably don't even think about, but it's so important, and it's great that you're sharing and that you're educating and that you're learning to be a great manager and manage staff. I mean, that's awesome. These are all things you're gonna need. Yeah. You got a while to work. Unless something happens with the lottery, you got a little while to work. So just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm gonna wrap up. So today's May's message is a quote that I found, and I think it's so appropriate. I didn't know how the conversation was going to go, but the quote that I found was, "You're never too young to change the world."
Oh, I love that.
And I feel like you are definitely evidence of that. Like, I love hearing, and I think about when I was young and growing up, and my grandmothers having me do different things and things that maybe I didn't understand at the time, but it helped to develop me into the woman that I am today. And then I look at you, I think about where I was at your age, and what you're doing now, and how important things like no one was talking about conservation necessarily in my circle when I was, younger, but to hear you talk about that and be so passionate about that, and just the work that you've done and the lives that you've impacted at this point. I mean, there's this little child running up to you at Disney and says, "I want to be like you when I grow up." That's amazing. And so that lets you know that we don't have to be on this earth for a really long time to change it and to make a positive impact. With so much negativity sometimes in the world, it's so great to hear about young people making positive impacts. So keep changing the world. Keep being the very best, and you're a star, Lauren.
Thank you.
And I am thrilled that you're a a friend of my son. Like, I love his circle. And so thank you again. I look forward to having you back again. And
you.
we'll talk all things conservation and animals. And I mean it. We're going to talk about some volunteer efforts
Awesome.
once the cameras are off. But thank you again.
Thank you.
Cheers to you
Cheers.
and all the amazing work that you're doing. Cheers to you all. Thank you for joining us at Portia's Place, where you'll never wine alone.
Thanks.
Thank you.